Hey guys, this is Mr. Ploon. I just wanted to come at you with a quick review or comparison between the Samsung Galaxy S2 and the Samsung Galaxy Ace. Both of these phones were announced and released at the beginning of this year, so they're fairly new on the market, and I know that the Samsung Galaxy S2 is probably one of the hotter phones out on the market. So I want to start off with the Samsung Galaxy Ace and some of the specs of it. It runs off the 900 and 2100 band of 3G, so that'll work with AT&T in the USA. It weighs in at 113 grams, and it features a TFT display with a resolution of 360 by 480. It's a 3.5 inch display, and for the budget phone, the mid-range phone, it seems to be alright. It shows a decent level of clarity and crispness on it, but you can see some pixelation if I bring this up. But still readable and viewable, so it'll get the job done, obviously. This runs Samsung TouchWiz 3.0 skinned on top of Android 2.2 Froyo, and it runs an 800 megahertz processor, so it is decently snappy. You'll see it lag sometimes, but it'll really get the job done. It's one of the better budget phones out there. The screen quality, like I said, the colors are a little bit washed out. Not the greatest screen, but it'll get the job done. And it is Gorilla Glass, so you don't have to worry about that scratching up. However, I do have a screen protector on here. And the reason this phone seems to be popular is because it incorporates all the smartphone features into a fairly cheap price. And although I can't get the exact pricing just because it'll vary by country, you can pick this up for around $300, $350 unlocked. So pretty good pricing for what you're paying for. Now, a lot of people do say the phone itself looks like the iPhone 4. And here I just want to compare the two. So in terms of screen, they have the same 3.5 inch screen. They both have a home button right down here. Speakers at the top. No front facing camera for the Samsung Galaxy Ace. On the right hand side you have the power button for the Ace. You can see the micro SD is located similar to where the micro SIM slot is. At the bottom you have the microphone and the speaker on the iPhone. You only have the microphone on the Samsung Galaxy Ace. And on the left hand side you do have the volume up and down, as well as the volume up and down for the iPhone. And they both feature a metal band all around. This is actually plastic, sort of a chrome design, whereas the iPhone is aluminum. And finally at the top, you have the power button on the iPhone, the headphone jack, and then the micro USB charger for the Galaxy Ace. So just something I wanted to point out. In terms of the Galaxy S2, it is what I think is the hottest phone out here right now. And it runs off of the 900 and 2100 band spectrum, so that is AT&T 3G as well, and obviously European and Asian carriers also have this. This weighs in at 116 grams, so it is very light, but at the same time it is just a tad heavier than the Galaxy Ace. And this has a 4.3 inch display with a resolution of 480 by 800. This is a Super AMOLED Plus display, so it's absolutely gorgeous. And the only phone I think that beats it out is actually the iPhone's Retina display. The color reproduction on this is absolutely fantastic, so you get some very rich, vibrant, and poppy colors. But the clarity of it is not as good as the iPhone, just because that seems to be super sharp and super clear because of the high resolution. So the only thing that really disappointed me about the display was a resolution of 480 by 800, because that seems to be 2010 standards. Now there are some phones, such as the HTC Sensation, that have QHD, so even though it's still very crisp and clear and it gets the job done, I would have liked to see it in a higher resolution on the phone itself. So in terms of software, both phones run Android. The Galaxy S2 runs 2.3 Gingerbread with TouchWiz 4.0 skinned on there, whereas the Galaxy Ace runs 2.2 Froyo with TouchWiz 3.0 skinned on there. So there are some considerable differences. Basically, it's speed, and then here you have the App Store for both. They are pretty similar, very iPhone-like, but you can see that it's just much more refined with all these little widgets on here. And if I can show you something right here, if I want to remove this, for example, I can drag it down, and once I bring up the widgets, you can see this sort of side-scrolling, which will let you choose any widget, whereas on the Galaxy Ace, if I were to remove settings, for example, and just click on widgets, it's the regular old list scrolling view. So it's just a little things like that that make it just a little bit more refined. In terms of looks, the Galaxy Ace is made out of plastic, just like the Galaxy S2 that we have right here. It features a textured backing. They actually both do. And I prefer the one on the Galaxy Ace just a little bit more because it seems to be a little smoother, whereas the Galaxy S2 seems to be just a little bit more textured. The Galaxy S2 has an 8 megapixel camera which takes brilliant photos, 1080p video, whereas the Galaxy Ace features a 5 megapixel camera that unfortunately only shoots up to 240p video, which is pretty poor. Here you have the speaker, and there's the speaker for the Galaxy S2. Like I said, we already took a look at the buttons on this one, so we'll put it down now. In terms of the Galaxy S2, it is super thin, as you can see. Just comparison. The Ace is a little bit chunkier, as you can see, but still fits nicely in your hand. Whereas the Galaxy S2 is the thinnest phone on the market right now. Here I have the iPhone 4, just to show you. So it's crazy how they made it that thin. And also included the removable back cover. So on the right hand side we have the power button. At the top we have the headphone jack and the microphone. On the left hand side we have the volume rocker, as well as the lanyard jack. And finally at the bottom we have the micro USB charger and the secondary microphone. And on the front, very similar to the Galaxy Ace, you have a home button, a back button, and a menu. And here you can see the same on the Galaxy Ace. So it seems to be that Samsung is keeping that style on other models. And you can see the earpiece right up there. So let's put the phones down. In terms of processing power, the Galaxy Ace runs an 800 megahertz processor. So for a budget phone or a mid-range phone, it seems to be pretty decent. However, nowadays you can find some of those that have a 1 gigahertz processor. And then the Galaxy S2 runs an Exynos chipset, which is clocked at 1.2 gigahertz. That is dual core, so it really is a beast. So I just wanted to run a quick quadrant standard benchmark test to show the differences between processing power. And obviously this is not going to be very detailed, so these results might vary just a little bit depending on your phone, but we obviously know the Galaxy S2 will be the clear winner. But the reason I'm making this video is not to brag about the Galaxy S2 or show how great of a phone it is, but rather how the Samsung Galaxy Ace, which is a mid-range phone, compares to higher end phones nowadays. And basically what I'm trying to say is that the Samsung Galaxy Ace is, in my opinion, the best budget phone or the best mid-range phone out there. Because in that range you usually get about a 600 megahertz processor, you get a small display, the build quality isn't very high, and the Samsung Galaxy Ace has definitely impressed me on that part. It's definitely a phone that I see people that really can't afford or don't want to upgrade to a higher end phone, and they can have that option available. So let's wait while this loads and we'll check it out. So this one is finished. Let's press yes. So obviously you can see this got a very high score of 3152, and it blows everything out of the water. So very impressed. I've gotten scores of up to 3400 before, so very good. And the Galaxy Ace got a score of 585, if this will focus in. So as you can see right there, it is a little bit low, as you can see, compared to some other phones. It does have an 800 megahertz processor, and in daily usage it seems to be pretty snappy. You get the occasional lag here and there, but for a mid-range phone, once again, it definitely does a job. And I really do see myself using this phone if I was in a situation where I needed to. It's not a terrible phone, definitely something that I consider. But obviously the Galaxy S2 is a clear winner, and really anything you throw at it, it's super snappy. You won't find any lag on this. I've tried to make it lag, you really can't. It's just, for what I think, the best Android device out on the market. So basically I just want to sum it up and say this is the highest end Android phone right now. It's buttery smooth, everything runs well. The only two major cons I have are the fact that it's made out of plastic, even though the build quality is pretty high, and the screen resolution on it. But other than that, guys, I am very pleased. And in terms of the Samsung Galaxy Ace, I was very surprised at the phone. I definitely didn't have high expectations for it. Usually I'm not the kind of guy that likes mid-range phones just because they tend to cut a lot of things short. In this case, the only thing that really disappointed me was the camera on the back, only able to shoot at 240p. but I really can't blame the lag or anything, just because I know that mid-range phones really can't get anything above a 1 gigahertz processor at this current point, and I definitely do think it's a good phone for the price. And if you are interested in picking it up, you can do so at expansis-usa.com. You can pick up both of these phones, or if you're located abroad, you can probably pick it up at your local carrier. So just wanted to come at you with this quick video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and hope this helped you make a decision on buying a phone. Anyhow guys, just thanks a lot for your support. Cheers.